Curl police. Gatekeeper. Curl type doesn't matter. It's just for fun.
Why do you care so much what someone else calls their hair?
Curl typing, the great divider. Let's talk about it. This is going to be quite the controversial video, but I feel like it needs to be put out there. So there's no scientific chart that shows the distinct end and beginning of each curl type, but there are some very key and distinct features of each main type that make sense and make it pretty easy to categorize an individual's hair. We'll go over those in just a moment, but before that I will say that the numbering and lettering system and the curl chart that many of us have seen and has been recreated with lots of different photos many times was created by Andre Walker. And unfortunately, from what I've seen, he himself had a pretty problematic attitude towards coily hair, specifically 4C. If you're not familiar, the curl types are defined as follows: 1, straight; 2, wavy; 3, curly; 4, coily. Within each main type, there are 3 subtypes: A, loose; B, medium; C, tight. So the hair types range from 1A to 4C. 1A being the loosest texture and 4C being the tightest texture. It ends at 4C. Of course, 12 hair types isn't enough to perfectly represent every single head of hair, but everyone should loosely fit into one of those 4 main categories, which are what I typically like to go by anyway: straight, wavy, curly, coily. And of course, curl typing is done on unstyled hair. Now, overtyping is labeling your own or someone else's hair as a higher letter and or number on this curl typing system. For example, my hair is about a 2A. It's pretty much the loosest type of wavy hair that you can get, but it's more of an O shape than it is an S shape, so I am frequently overtyped. I've had several people classify me as 2C/3A. This is overtyping. And coincidentally, 2C/3A is the most common form of overtyping I typically see, because a lot of people seem to think that if you have any sort of O shape or spiral shape, that pushes you into type 3, and that's not the case. Type 3 hair is a relatively consistent size and shape from the root to the tip. Of course, no one hair type is immune from wonkiness, but in general, it will be about the same size and shape, straight from the root all the way down the length of the hair. This is determined by the shape of the hair follicle. If myself or others call my hair 3A, what happens to the rest of the hair types above mine? What happens to 4C? It would be pushed completely off the chart. This causes a host of issues, even if we might not realize it. The first thing overtyping does is make your own hair care more confusing and more challenging. Some people discredit hair types altogether and say that the only thing that matters is porosity. While porosity will have some effect on what products and techniques you use, it changes more easily than any other hair factor, and it's also just the hardest one to correctly determine. It's definitely not and shouldn't be anyone's only factor in choosing their routine. Your porosity is already typically lower towards your roots and higher towards your ends, just from the normal damage that comes from, well, existing for a longer amount of time. Your strand width is another factor that will have some effect on the way you choose your routine, but still, knowing your general hair type is going to help you narrow things down and have less trial and error. Not none, but less. Type 2 hair and type 4 hair are going to need different products and a different routine to look their best and be their healthiest, even if they are the exact same porosity and the exact same strand width. All that to say, every hair type needs different care and products, and knowing the general guidelines for each main type can be incredibly helpful. If you have wavy hair and you think or you're told that it's curly, you usually end up purchasing less than the ideal products for you, and you can easily become over moisturized, have buildup, or be greasy and weighed down. Then you might go on to search for advice and help for why your curls are disappearing or won't last more than a day. Generally, wavy hair needs lighter products than curly hair, and curly hair generally needs lighter products than coily hair. Within the main hair types, those other hair stats do come into play to help you narrow down your products and routine, but the general main guidelines for each type usually hold true. Curly hair doesn't go straight at the roots or mostly straight from being slept on. These are wavy hair issues. Wavy hair doesn't just mean those beachy waves that you might picture. The wavy hair type is type 2 hair, and it does have spirals and can be O-shaped, and it is a looser curl pattern than curly. Remember, straight is the loosest, that's why it falls completely or mostly straight. Wavy is a little bit tighter, but looser than curly. Curly is tighter than wavy, but looser than coily. Coily is the tightest. If you're having wavy hair problems because you have wavy hair, asking for curly advice usually isn't going to get you the help that you need. It would be kind of like asking how to fold a hand towel when really you need help learning how to fold a fitted sheet. I'm using this example because I am absolutely terrible at folding fitted sheets. Claiming to have curly hair when you have wavy hair also makes it harder for those with curly hair to see themselves represented, to find creators to follow who have the same hair type as them, and to find tips and advice that is specifically for type 3 curly hair. For example, if you just go to search the term 3A on Instagram, the tag is completely flooded with wavies. It's frustrating then that those with curly hair and actual 3A hair can't find creators with that hair type because there are so many that are overtyping. If those with type 2 hair would be specific and tag their photos with wavy or 2A, 2B, 2C, whatever their actual curl type is, this problem would lessen and everyone would be able to find themselves represented correctly. This translates into real life as well, in case these social media issues don't seem important to you. One main real life issue here is curly hairstylists or curl specialists. I know many people who have curly hair, type 3 hair, who have been turned away by curly hair specialists because they don't actually have experience with type 3 hair. Often, if you search for curl specialists online, their portfolios are full of type 2 hair, but everyone is calling it curly. It makes it very difficult for those with curly hair and subsequently those with coily hair to find knowledgeable stylists who actually know how to cut and treat type 3 and type 4 hair. Stylists claiming to do curly cuts and be curly hair specialists when they are primarily or only dealing with type 2 hair and typing it or calling it type 3 contributes to this problem, contributes to the overtyping. Stylists are not immune from getting the hair types wrong, and many aren't willing to learn. The curly girl method has unfortunately made this issue even worse, because everyone with wavy hair wants to call their hair curly to be included, and salons really want to capitalize on this. They can make more money only learning how to style and cut wavy hair, but call it curly so that everyone thinks it is a very special, very hard to do service. And everyone who wants to be involved in the curly girl movement will buy into that. When a curly hair specialist sees someone with type 3 hair and exclaims that they've never seen hair like that before, that's a problem. It further others those with actual tight curly hair and makes it even worse for those with coily hair, which is already discriminated against, which is why we need the Crown Act. The Crown Act is a law that makes it illegal to discriminate against primarily black people, for their hair. Currently, it is not illegal, even across the entire United States, to discriminate against a black person for wearing their natural type 4 hair the way that it grows out of their head. Overtyping affects this problem. It really does. Because if you are always associating type 3 hair with someone who looks like me with this hair, then you don't know what actual type 3 hair looks like, and you don't know what actual type 4 hair looks like, which is why people still think it is bizarre. They still think it is so different. It's beautiful and it belongs, and everyone deserves to be able to find products that work for them, find content creators with their same hair type for inspiration and help, and find knowledgeable hairstylists who treat them like human beings and know how to cut and care for their hair. It's a real issue, and we can help make it a little bit better in just really, really simple, easy ways, like calling your hair wavy if you have type 2 hair.
But my hair curls, so it's curly.
You're gatekeeping.
I'm truly not. Colloquially, yes, people will call anything that makes a turn curly. But within the hair types, there are 4 categories, and being wavy, being in the type 2 category, doesn't make your hair any less than. You're not misrepresenting your hair if you're calling it wavy in a hair space. It's better for everyone involved. It's more accurate because it's more specific. And it's important to be as specific as you can when you're seeking for or giving advice. Wavy hair with ringlets behaves differently than curly hair. This hair, right here, will behave differently than this hair. And that's okay. Calling them specifically what they really are helps everyone. The wavy hair type is different from the curly hair type. It's not bad that they're different. They're just different. Just like teal is different from green. This is me on a different day, jumping in because I forgot to give an analogy, and I think it's a pretty decent one, and I just want to get my message through clearly. And I feel like if people understood what I was saying, they would be less inclined to be upset about what I'm saying. So my quick example is when someone is posting about their hair, asking for advice, something like that, maybe on a Facebook group, on an Instagram post, in a TikTok, a lot of people feel that if someone corrects that person on their hair type, that the person correcting them is attacking them. Correction's not an attack. If someone was posting about their hair and they said, I have very, very low porosity hair. It soaks up water like a new sponge, and it has a lot of bleach damage. People would correct them and say, that's high porosity hair, not low porosity. And that would be helpful because porosity matters when you're choosing your products and when you're identifying your hair type. And no one would consider that correction an attack. Everyone seems to understand that no porosity is better than another or worth clinging to wrong information to be able to claim, but they don't seem to think the same thing about the hair types. So I hope that gives just a little bit more perspective for the next time you see someone say, your hair is wavy, not curly. Overtyping can harm your own hair, and it harms those with tighter textures, specifically black people, and that is a reason to care about it. No hair type is better than another. There is no hierarchy. There is no just waves. There's nothing wrong with having wavy hair. Curly hair shouldn't be the goal. It shouldn't be your goal to get into the type 3 category. Nothing is better up there. They all belong and they're all fine, just fine in their own right. Being happy with your hair should be the goal, no matter what pattern it is. And being specific and calling your hair the correct hair type that it is within hair spaces is super easy. It doesn't hurt at all, and it helps everyone be able to access the care and the help that they need. I know this is extremely controversial and will probably gain me a lot of hate, but I had to make this video and put this information out there. I will probably lose subscribers. I will probably get some unhappy comments, maybe even some mean comments. So if you happened to enjoy what I had to say today, if you found it helpful, if you found it insightful, I would really, really extra appreciate if you'd let me know in the comments. because I am anticipating mostly negative comments. And so I would really love to hear from you if you agree with me and you're happy for me putting this video together. This is something that makes a lot of people upset because a lot of people want to cling to the title of curly. It's not any more special, but this is something that I will always believe and always speak on because it really is important. I understand that unlearning is really hard. I understand why some people want to hang on to a title that they've been identifying with for their entire lives. I do understand. I'm not trying to attack anyone. I'm not trying to call anyone a bad person. I believe it's okay to not know, but when we know better, we should try to do better. And that's all I'm trying to do. I've been shown why this matters, and so I will always believe it and I will always speak on it because I want everyone to be able to have access to proper hair care and have access online to creators who look like them and have hair like them. And it just feels like something that even if it's only harming one person, even if only one single person in the world was telling you something that you're just saying was hurting them, was making their life more difficult, I would try to stop saying it. It really does matter, even if some curly influencers say that it doesn't. And I will have some action links in the description that you can sign if you feel driven to. Like I said, I'm anticipating a lot of angry comments today, so if you did appreciate this video, please tell me in the comments below. Like the video if you really want to. You can subscribe to my channel if you're not upset about what I said today. I hope you all know my character and where I'm coming from. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to love yourselves fully and faithfully, and I'll see you next time, I hope.